it really has evolved over the years, just as we've evolved. And we began, focusing more and more on working with women in perimenopause because we entered into perimenopause and started facing the challenges that come with this season of life. And so this is something that's really, really passionate. We're really passionate about, and we've created this workbook, which is basically a guide for women to go through perimenopause with ease and to thrive and to kind of really realize that this season of life doesn't have to be a downfall. Women need clarity, they need structure, they need guidance, and they need support. And that is what this workbook is all about. So next slide, please. Oh, one back. There we go.
Hi, I'm Danny. So what's funny is, just say this quickly, what's funny is that Lindsay and I actually live 3 doors down from each other. So we're in our respective homes, but we're always close to each other. And after 12 years of living far apart from each other, we're actually back together. And like I said, we're raising our families 3 doors down from each other in Collingwood or Thornbury, Ontario. And so yes, we could have been together today, but we're at our respective homes. So yes, we are identical twin sisters. We're 49 this year, turning 50 in August. So it's a big milestone year for us. We're moms. We each have two teenagers, a boy first each and a girl second each, and they're best friends. And we're very lucky to also have our husbands being best friends, and our dogs. So we actually took different career paths from the get-go. I was very science and Lindsay was very arts, which is kind of funny. But I followed my passion in science and I went and ended up becoming a physical therapist and acupuncturist. And I worked really in like the sports field, but I always really had that deep passion of helping people. And I also really was in like really intrigued with energy and things like that, which is why I practice acupuncture as well. And I really love that side of things. And Lindsay took a totally different stream. She ended up doing her degrees in art and nutrition, but she also became almost like she worked in the nutrition field, but really got into like the media side of food. So it was really artistic for her. She was doing food styling and recipe development and things like that, which was really cool. But we always had this big dream of coming back together and opening a business together. That was our biggest dream from the time we were kids. And another big dream that we've always had is to write a book together. So this is like a huge milestone year for us, like I said. So we ended up leaving our respective careers when the kids were young, deciding that we really wanted to pursue something together. And we went back to a school out of New York that's called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. It was all online, but we did a 1 year long program. And from that, we became certified integrative holistic health and nutrition coaches. And we also launched our business, Nourish Live Flow, which was about 11 years ago, I think. We started off thinking, oh, we're just going to do some coaching and health coaching, and because that's really like what we were gravitating towards. But we started to really change and evolve as we've been sharing about. We started to really evolve, and we started to become really passionate about clean living. Part of it was personal, and part of it was just from our family upbringing and things like that. But we really started diving deeper into the clean living side of things, and we started educating and advocating for how people can reduce their toxic load, how that impacts their overall health and wellness. And then when our dad actually was diagnosed with cancer about 8 years ago, and he passed away almost 3 years ago, that was a big turning point for us. Both of our fathers-in-law have passed away from cancer, and we've also had our beautiful sister-in-law who has struggled with breast cancer. So cancer is really near and dear to us. And so we really became passionate about this area, and we still are passionate about this area. And we continued to evolve. We became more into our midlife ourselves, and we basically just more with women in perimenopause, which is where we are at. So now we really use all of our tools. We use our background, we use our holistic health and wellness certification and education, and we use our clean living background. And we really help women in perimenopause to really start to thrive instead of survive. And that's what this book is all about. And yeah, we're going to go to the next slide.
Okay, so why did we create this workbook? Well, like Danny said, we shifted gears and we really started to work with women in perimenopause, and we really started spending our time like really focusing on how we can actually begin to look and feel better and thrive during the season of life. Because like everybody, we kind of entered into perimenopause when we were in like our mid to late 30s, I would say, and we started realizing all the things that we were doing, and we were talking to our friends in the same season of life, that things just weren't working anymore. The things that we had always done with eating, exercise, the healthy habits that we had just weren't working anymore. We started to notice things like weight gain. We started to notice things like skin, issues coming up. We were noticing our stress and anxiety had worsened. We weren't sleeping as well at night. We were having things like brain fog, mood swings, hot flashes, all those sort of, signature perimenopause symptoms. And so we started to explore other ways to do things. We started to really dive deep into nervous system regulation because, again, that's something that we've always worked with breath work and meditation and mindfulness practices. But we started to really realize that even though we had done that for so many years, we still had a nervous system that was dysregulated. We were living in constant fight or flight ourselves, this survival mode. And what we realized is that when you're in survival mode, your body can't change. It really doesn't want to change because your body wants things to be familiar, things to feel safe. And your nervous system's whole job is literally keep me safe. So even though you're doing the things, you're eating the protein, you're going on your daily walks, you're trying to get a better night's sleep, you're still not necessarily going to see the changes that you want to see unless you start regulating your nervous system. And so we basically wanted to create a workbook that could really provide clarity, structure for women to use, both, in perimenopause, perimenopause, post perimenopause, something like a guided workbook that they could have for life that could really help bring them back to these 4 pillars that we're going to talk about moving forward. So that's why we created this workbook, and we're really excited about it. So next slide.
Yeah, so we really like I love the just the end of that last slide that said I can't even remember exactly what it said. There's my perimenopause brain right now coming through. But just that like this time in our lives isn't a breakdown, it's oh, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say is that we say like we wish we had this workbook when we entered perimenopause, and that's what this is about us creating something that Lindsay said like gives clarity. People are so overwhelmed during this time. Women are so overwhelmed. There's not enough information out there. And if there is, sometimes it's coming from influencers that may not be giving the right information, or maybe it's not just individual to what you are. Because one thing that we've realized is we're just humans too, right? We've got our education, we've got our background, but sometimes we follow what everyone else is saying. Well, you got to do this and you got to do that. And then we kind of step back and realize, oh yeah, but like each of us is an individual person and each of our bodies work completely different than other people. So you can't just have a recipe for perimenopause. You can't just say, do these 4 things and you'll be great. It has to be individualized, which is why we love personal coaching for people. But that's what this workbook is also about, is because there's going to be so many reflective prompts in there. There's going to be things that are going to get you answering your own questions of like, where are your limitations? Where are your mindset beliefs that need to change? What does your body want in this season of life? And that's how it's going to become individualized to you. So, having said all of that, midlife isn't a breakdown. We really have grown to believe that. I think so many women are like, what's wrong with me? I'm struggling. I'm not sleeping. I'm feeling anxious. I'm angry all the time. I can't think. And they start thinking that they're actually like just living to survive. They're not doing well. And this is the breakdown from here on, it's downwards, but that is not true. The more we have come through this and the more that we have learned, midlife is actually, it's almost like this beautiful new beginning. It should be celebrated. We are women who are coming into our wise years, our beautiful years, our, just like this is when we start to have the time again in our lives, not really, but, as we grow and our kids grow up and that we can really start focusing on ourselves more. And so we like to look at it as a recalibration. This is a new beginning for women to really start to look and feel their absolute best. So instead of surviving through perimenopause, we want people to thrive through perimenopause. So what are we going to recalibrate? Well, we want to work on recalibrating our mindset, which is a big one. We're going to go through these pillars in a minute, but our mindset, our nervous system, like we've talked about, our stress tolerance, because, when we go through perimenopause, we have less resilience to that. How we nourish our body has to be recalibrated. How we exercise has to be recalibrated. And also how we look at our own bodies and love and accept our own bodies have to be recalibrated. So that's where we want to really work with women and share, how can you not just survive this time, but how can you actually thrive and really actually come home to who you actually are meant to be. Next slide.
Okay, so what does it mean to thrive in perimenopause? What do we mean when we say thrive? Well, number one, we do not mean perfect. Coming from two recovering type A perfectionists, our motto has always been progress over perfection. We do not believe in perfection. We do not believe in deprivation, restriction, or anything like that. We just believe in progress. And we believe that small, simple, daily tips, tools, and strategies make all the difference. It's not about leaps and bounds. It's not about overhauling your life. It's not about changing everything. It's about implementing small things in your life so that you can start to shift the needle, so that you can start to look, feel, and be a little bit more yourself during this time. So feeling grounded energetically, physically, feeling present in your own body. And it's not going to be all of the time, obviously. Nourishing your body and your mind. So, really taking steps to, and we'll talk about nourishment coming up. Nourishment to us means so much more than just what you eat. It's a huge part of, all different parts of our bodies and our systems. Releasing perfectionism and guilt around even rest. We need to rest more in this season of life, and we need to give ourselves, the ability to do that without guilt. Building habits that regulate your nervous system. We're going to talk about nervous system a lot because we really truly believe it's the foundation for starting to thrive in midlife. Choosing joy and presence over hustle. We're so over this hustle and grind mentality and culture. We're so over it. I don't know if you guys are, but we are just done with that. We are done with the hustle and the grind. And then trusting your intuition again, trusting your worth is a huge thing for, I think, women in midlife. People really struggle with that. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. Letting go of comparison to others and just starting to embody who you really are. So to us, those are some parts of thriving in perimenopause. And again, we're going to go into more. So next slide, please, yes. So here we are. This is our 4 pillars, which again, these are 4 main chapters of our workbook. We're so excited about them. We really believe these 4 pillars are the foundations of health, not only for women in perimenopause and midlife, but literally for everybody. And so this can be, again, using this workbook, then you're going to learn so much about these, and then you can teach them to your kids or your husband who might be really stressed out. These aren't really, they are geared towards women for this, but these are foundations for health and wellness. So we have very intentionally created these 4 pillars. They're not quick fixes. They're not trends. They are just foundations. So the first one is mindset and intentions. So shifting your mindset and intentions comes first. Number 2 is regulating your nervous system. Number 3 is nourishing your body and your mind. And number 4 is ditching the toxins. So these are our 4 pillars, and we're going to go into each of them a little bit more detailed now. So you can move to the next slide, please.
Okay, so I remember several years back, Lindsay and I both struggled with anxiety through our 20s and 30s. And so I was working with this beautiful therapist at one point. She was very, very spiritual and wise and grounded. And I remember her saying to me, when I talked to her one day, I said, She said, you can't add sprinkles on top of a load of shit. And that stuck with me for so long because for so many years, and this was again, like, several years back, but I had just been, there's so much out there saying like, just add in, just say your positive affirmations every day, put a little sticky note on the mirror, that type of thing. And that's all amazing. I'm not saying it's not, but mindset our mindset is very ingrained. It's ingrained from the time we're quite young, actually. And so what we have learned and what we're going to be helping people through this workbook is to actually help learn how you actually can release both physically and energetically. So from your subconscious mind and from your energy and your physical body, release these mindsets that no longer serve you. Because we all have mindsets that oftentimes we're not even aware of them. There's just this internal chatter. So it could be, again, what Lindsay mentioned. I'm not worthy. I'm not capable. Well, if you have that ingrained belief in you and it's stored in your body or in your subconscious, how do you think you're going to move forward if you don't actually think you're worthy, right? So it goes back to that principle of if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So this is where we're starting our workbook because we truly believe that we want to help women reframe these mindsets, their mindsets, in order to then be able to build on the next step. So we want to let go of limiting beliefs that don't serve us anymore, and we want to learn how to ingrain new beliefs that are empowering and aligned to who we truly are. And setting intentions is just a really important aspect of that. An intention is not like setting a goal. An intention is setting something a lot deeper where you're saying, I intend to create this change, for example. So this is the first pillar, and this is where we're starting the workbook because we believe that this work has to be done first before we move on to the next steps. Next slide. So the next step, the next major pillar for us is regulate your nervous system. And we've talked already a lot about this because we actually do think this is the biggest pillar. This is foundational. So we need to regulate our nervous system in order to be able to move forward and see change in different parts of our body. And why is that? It's because our nervous system is something that has been ingrained in us, again, for so many years. And in fact, actually, throughout our generations in the past. So our nervous systems are hardwired to keep us safe. And so if we want to do something to update our systems or to change or just to actually feel better, we need to regulate our nervous system because our nervous system is actually what's going to allow that to happen. So number one, when we're in perimenopause, our cortisol, we actually become less resilient to stress. So our cortisol is actually usually higher, and then that can bring on more symptoms of perimenopause. So what helping to reset or regulate our nervous system does is it actually helps alleviate those symptoms of perimenopause. The other part of it is that our nervous system, like I was saying, wants us to stay safe. And so if we want to grow or expand, we have to regulate our nervous system in a way that allows our nervous system to feel safe, allowing us to do that. So basically this chapter, this section of the workbook is all about helping you realize where your nervous system is at. And then it's going to be a lot of tools, a lot of strategies, a lot of tips that we're going to actually help, like go through a little bit right after this to actually help you regulate your nervous system very easily. So these are just going to be small things that you can add into your day every day. And these small practices create massive shifts. So that's the second component or the second pillar, the second chapter of our book.
Okay, so the third pillar is nourishing your body and your mind. And again, I mentioned earlier, nourishment to us is so much bigger and so much broader than the food that we eat. When we were in school to become holistic health coaches, we actually learned of a principle called primary nourishers versus secondary nourishers. So primary nourishers are actually not the food that we eat. Primary nourishers are things like our relationships, our connection to ourselves or spirituality, the career or job that we have, our family, our friendships, things that really truly nourish us at our soul. And then secondary nourishes are things like the food that we eat, the way that we move our bodies, and that sort of thing. So we truly believe like nourishment is really, really large. And it's also about nourishing your spirit, nourishing your mind. So of course we do focus on food in this chapter. We focus on protein, fiber, and healthy fats, which we really believe are the three core foundational nourishments that we need to use. We're going to be giving you some amazing healthy recipes. We're also about no restriction. So we don't believe in deprivation and we don't believe in restriction. We believe that that sets us up for failure. When we go on to like this rigid way of eating or rigid way of exercising, it's not sustainable. And again, it can cause our body to actually be in that fight or flight constantly, again, in that survival mode. So we want to be doing things to nourish our bodies in a very gentle and sustainable way. This is also a chapter about movement, so the way that we move our bodies. So we're going to be talking about things that are more beneficial to women in midlife than maybe what we were doing in our 20s and 30s. We were huge proponents of HIIT and spin and all that kind of stuff. We were in the spin studios 5 days a week. That doesn't work anymore for us. And we're not saying not to implement some cardio in your life, but this season of life, again, wants us to slow down a little bit. It wants us to listen to our bodies. It wants us to move more intuitively. So this is an example that Danielle actually talks about a lot. Excuse me, we were starting this strength training protocol with a bunch of friends. We called it Gym Club. And we would go 3 mornings a week and we would lift heavy weights. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? That's what everybody says that we're supposed to be doing. And we are. Of course, we're supposed to be adding strength training in the season of life. However, it didn't sit with us very well. It was sort of like we felt like we were pushing our bodies too far. And so we kind of had to like come back to ourselves and say, is this really what our body wants right now? And the answer was no. So we went back to what we felt like our body wanted, right? In this, like at this period, which was Pilates, somatic exercises, walking, things that just felt better for us. Yeah, so that is, the nourish your body and mind section. And then we'll move on to the last section, which is ditch the toxins. So for us, this is a really important pillar. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning. We are clean living advocates. It is something near and dear to our hearts. We've been learning this for probably over a decade now. And we truly believe this is almost the missing link. This is the part that people don't really understand when it comes to overall health and wellness. We always like to say what we put on our bodies is just as important as what we put in our bodies. And we like to talk about our, people always say to us, well, what do you mean you can't reduce your exposure to toxins and chemicals? They're everywhere. And that is 100% true. They are everywhere. However, we like to say our homes and our bodies are our safe haven. So what we, use in our homes and what we just choose to use on our bodies in the form of personal care and beauty products can drastically lower the amount of toxins and chemicals that we are exposed to. And the problem is that these toxins and chemicals are often endocrine disruptors. And what does that mean? It means they literally mimic your hormones and cause them to act in ways that they are not intended to act. So when we're in perimenopause and our hormones are already doing this and all over the roadmap, when we're exposing ourselves to endocrine disruptors, it's just going to exacerbate everything. Your symptoms are going to get worse. Your body's not able to detox properly. And so we really educate about, taking, stock of what you're using in your home in the way of cleaning products and that sort of thing. And then also what we're using on our bodies in terms of personal care and beauty products, and starting to slowly swap over to cleaner and safer alternatives. And we know them all. We are experts. So that is, the fourth pillar of this section. We're going to be giving you clean living guides and all sorts of different resources that you can use, brands that we love and everything. So that's it. So essentially, now this is the final slide before we're going to go into a little bit of interactive stuff. So really this workbook is just bringing these 4 pillars together in a beautiful framework that we like to call Nourish and Thrive in midlife or in perimenopause. It's going to help you build, again, your mindset intentions, help regulate your nervous system so that you can actually start to see the changes that you want to see and your body allows that. how to nourish your body and your mind and your spirit and your soul, and then also how to create, a cleaner environment for yourself and your family. And so that is the essence of this workbook.
Okay, so now we're actually going to guide you guys through a few things. So we want to actually, this is kind of our favorite part
And
is
Arden, sorry, you can actually make me stop the slides for this part.
Yeah, so we're gonna do we're just thought that it would be really great to actually lead you guys through a few of these nervous system tools that are our favorite daily go-tos. And like we said, we really don't want people to be more overwhelmed using these things, and that's why they're short, they're effective, they're things that you can do anytime throughout your day. And we also love that they're things that you can teach your kids. We both have teenagers, like I said. There's obviously anxiety that comes along with teens, and so over the years we've really taught our kids these tools, and now we know that they have things that they can rely on, because when we experienced anxiety in our 20s and then 30s, we didn't know the tools. So we were actually like, oh, we were kind of lost. And so these tools are amazing strategies that, like I said, you can not only have for your own use daily, but you can also teach to your family, friends, et cetera, et cetera. So, okay, so the first one that I'm going to teach you guys, we're just going to go back and forth here a little bit. So the first one that I'm going to teach you guys is called a butterfly hug. And this is something that's a very, very soothing and calming tool that helps your nervous system feel safe. So what, like, as we said at the beginning, your nervous system wants to feel safe, but it doesn't feel safe with anything that's not familiar to it right now. So it's actually quite easy to start building in resilience and safety into our nervous system, but it does require you to do the little tools and things that are going to help you do that. And like I said, these are little things that you could add into your day anytime. So, you wake up in the morning, you could do them. You're driving. Sometimes I do these when I'm driving if I'm feeling overwhelmed or overstimulated. You can take a little break from work and do them. You can really do these anytime, which is why they're so powerful. So butterfly hug is very simple. So you put your hand against your sternum, your other hand over top. You can cross your thumbs if that feels good to you. And then all you're going to do, because this is essentially bilateral stimulation. So bilateral stimulation actually really calms your nervous system down. So all you're going to do is use the ends of your fingertips, and you're just going to go back and forth gently. You don't want it to be hard. You don't want it to be too fast. You want it to actually try and mimic your heart rate a little bit. And while you're doing that, I like to close my eyes, take a deep breath, and I like to always just say to myself in my head, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And by doing this, you're giving your nervous system the input that it's safe. And the thing that is, again, that I just want to touch on with these tools is they're very effective when you're actually feeling overwhelm, anxiety, or overstimulation. But they're equally, if not more effective in doing them as a pattern as you build them into your day, so that when you're actually helping your nervous system to not get to that stressful point then. So I don't just use these techniques when I feel the anxiety. As I said, they're very effective when you do, but I use them, I stack them in my day as habits so that I'm actually teaching my nervous system that it's safe. So then when you actually are in front of a stressful situation or feeling that fight or flight, your body is actually already more resilient to that stress. So that's the butterfly hug. It's very easy. You can do it anytime. When I'm driving, I even do this. I just put one hand on the wheel, one hand here, and I just tap back and forth. Okay, Linz.
love it. Yeah, I love the butterfly hug. I use it all the time. It's one of my
Oh,
favorites.
I just wanted to say one more thing about this one because I do think this is really neat because I was teaching a client this the other day. If you have a child that has anxiety, obviously it's harder when they're older, but you can teach any child this because it's so simple. But if you have a young one that really wants that comfort or that feeling of safety, have them sit on your lap facing away from you and then wrap your arms around them and you do the butterfly hug on them. And it's very, very, very soothing. You can say to them in their ear, you are safe, you are safe. But again, our kids' nervous systems are wired because of all the stimulation. And so this is such a nice way that you can help a little one feel calmer and safer in their bodies. Caitlin's.
Okay, so the next one, I'm going to stand up here. So hopefully you can see me. The next one is called the washing machine. And again, something so easy, but really effective. If you're, sitting in your kitchen and you're feeling a little bit of stress, or again, this can be just done anytime. Sometimes I do it when I wake up in the morning, but it is so easy. It really is called the washing machine. And all you're going to do is just actually, I'm going to show you one thing that we learned from a webinar that we did. So this can actually help gauge your nervous system and see if a technique can work for you. So if you put your fingers forward and you're just doing this and you twist and see how far you can twist. And then take it, like remember sort of where your fingers get to. And then if you do a couple of these techniques or even one of these techniques, so the washing machine is literally just really just letting your body go loose and swinging your arms around your body. I like to close my eyes, feel my feet grounded into the floor, and just really let your body just relax again. This is just signaling safety to your body. It's bringing your presence back into your body. And then once you've done that, so say 30 seconds or a minute or something like that, you can repeat this. And if that technique works for you, you'll find that you can actually twist a little bit more. Your body is easing up and like allowing itself to just move a little bit more. Like I'm moving for sure farther than I did the first time after that. So that's again just a super easy thing you can do. I sometimes do it like, after exercise to bring, because when we exercise, our cortisol does go up. And so I like to do a couple nervous system regulation techniques after exercise in order to bring my cortisol back down again and just feel safe in my body. So that's the washing machine.
Okay, so technique number 3 that we love, and this one is really, really dear and near to my heart, or near and dear to my heart, but is grounding. Grounding is something that I truly love. I learned grounding probably over a decade ago, and I literally practice it every day. And again, you can practice it to different extents. So you can do it really, really simple, and then you can go further into it as well. But grounding is this idea behind, the earth is always supporting us, right? Like if we think about Mother Earth is always, always there to support us. So grounding is a way that we connect our bodies into the ground so that we can actually feel safer. And it can go crazy. Like there is this crazy energetic loop that goes through our bodies, up through our feet and into our root chakra and etc. But really simply, grounding can be done anywhere. So if it's summertime and it's beautiful out, and one of the best ways to do grounding is you get outside and you put your bare feet in the ground. So you can either walk on the grass, you can stand on the grass. I literally put my feet in my garden in the backyard, and I will sit and even have my morning coffee out there. Again, on the bottom of our point, this is just going into like my acupuncture, but on the bottom of our feet, there's a point called the kidney 1 point, and that is actually our most grounding point. So when we're standing, it's like what tree pose actually comes from in yoga. When you're standing and you have your feet planted on the ground, that energy is coming down. It should be coming through that kidney 1 point into the ground. And so when we can visualize ourselves being supported and grounded by the earth, it actually affects our nervous system more than you could actually understand. So if it's summer, like I said, I'll go outside, I'll put my feet in the ground, I'll close my eyes, I'll put my hand on my heart, which is also very, very calming and soothing. And I will literally allow, like what I like to do is I actually like, and you guys can do this if you like with me, is just wherever you're sitting, put your hands on your heart, and I want you to just sink into where you are. Put your feet on the floor if you can, on the floor. In the middle of your foot, there is a grounding point. Like I said, you can visualize that grounding point going into the floor. And I want you to just think about whatever body part is touching a surface, think about it sinking in. So whether that's the back of your legs, your back into the back of the couch, like I said, your bottoms of your feet into the ground, and just take a couple breaths. I'm just going to be silent for a minute. Take a couple breaths and actually just feel your body sink into the earth. And the truth is that we are actually always supported. Like I said, the earth is always supporting us. You know, the sofa that you're sitting on is supporting you. The ground that you are walking on is supporting you. And when you remind your body of that, you remind your nervous system of that, your nervous system actually says, "Oh, I am safe." So this is the most simple, like just such a beautiful, simple. I'm going to take you through a grounding visualization meditation at the end, actually, where we're going to go a little bit deeper. But this is really a very simple way that you can A, reduce your anxiety and stress when you feel it, and B, doing it every day as a pattern, whether you get outside in the morning, put your feet in the grass when it's summer. It's really going to help affect your nervous system and allow it to calm down and allow you to feel safe. So that's grounding.
Okay, one final thing, and then we're going to move right into the visualization and meditation that Danny's going to walk us through. It's just breath work, pure and simple. It can be done anywhere, but we really walk around, especially as women. And if you notice, like I notice sometimes I'm just bracing, like I literally feel my body, and I'm like, why do I feel like I'm on high alert? Why do I feel like I'm about to be attacked by something? Like I'm literally squeezing my body. And so, you know, when you notice that, oh, okay, I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to focus on my breath. I'm actually going to like take a deep breath. So there's in this workbook, again, in this section on nervous system regulation, we're going to have a number of different breath work practices that you can do and start to learn. There's box breathing, which is breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4, and then holding for a count of 4. There's triangle breathing, which is breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of, say, 6, and exhaling for a count of 8. And a longer exhale always calms us down. So what I'm just going to do quickly with you guys to just show you is the physiological sigh, because this is something that can be used anytime. And if you're just starting, you notice you're bracing, you notice that you're stressed, you notice that your anxiety's spiking or something like that. A physiological sigh is actually taking 2 to 3 inhales in, followed by a long exhale. So again, put your hand on your heart if you feel inclined, and you're just going to almost do I'm going to do 2 breaths in. So we're going to do 1 longer breath and then almost a sip at the top, and then you're going to release it down with a long exhale out of your mouth. So literally, we're just going to go and really just let your body go. Let it just come out of you. So that is a physiological sigh. And now, because I know we only have about five minutes left, we're going to move on, and Danny's going to guide us through a short visualization meditation, and then we'll be all finished.
Yeah, and the last thing that I was just going to say before doing the guided meditation is one of the coolest things is you can actually combine all of these together. And I often find myself doing that. So I might be sitting doing my butterfly tap, but then at the same time, I'm closing my eyes. I'm taking a deep breath or the physiological sigh. I'm feeling my legs sink into the couch or my feet sink into the floor. And that is just where your nervous system starts saying, like, oh, I'm safe. I'm safe. So you can play with these tools, and you're going to each get a takeaway as well, which will have this information in it. So, okay. So what I would like everyone to do now is to actually get comfy. So if you're sitting on the couch and you'd like to cross your legs, put your hands in your lap. If you like the feeling of your feet flat on the floor, that's great as well. And Arden, if we could start the music. Okay. So I invite you to just take a moment to get comfortable where you are. Whatever feels good for you is perfect for this guided visualization. You don't need to think. You don't need to do anything right now. Just try and be where you are. Allow your body to settle into the support beneath you. Gently close your eyes if that feels good, or soften your gaze towards the floor. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and sigh it out through your mouth. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing in calm and breathing out any tension or what isn't serving you. Now allow your breath to return to a natural rhythm. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest and your belly like the ocean waves. Bring your awareness down to the parts of your body touching the cushion and the floor. Notice the support beneath you. Imagine roots gently growing from your body into the earth, grounding you, steadying you, holding you safely. With each breath, picture those roots reaching a little deeper, even plugging into the center of the earth. Strong, steady, and safe. Now imagine a warm, golden light beginning to flow upward through those roots. This light is nourishing, calming, and full of life energy. See it rise from the earth into your body, filling your legs, your hips, your belly, your heart, your neck, your jaw, your head. Feel it expanding gently, wrapping you in warmth and peace. As the golden light continues upward, notice how your body feels more open, more supported, more connected, more whole. You are grounded here. You are nourished, and you are safe. Take a moment here to rest in this feeling. Imagine your whole body glowing softly, connected to the earth, supported by its steady energy. Breathe into this sense of calm, knowing you can return to it anytime you need. Begin to bring your awareness back into the space around you. Notice the sounds in the room, the softness of your cushion. Wiggle your fingers and your toes gently. When you're ready, take a deep breath in, exhale fully, and slowly open your eyes. Welcome back.
Arden, if you could just bring up the very last slide.
Before we go on to this, I just wanted to ask, and it's only, you can either put it in the comments if there is comment section, or if you'd like to say just how you have felt after doing the grounding and the nervous system reset exercises.
Okay, just to the next slide, which is the last one, I believe. Okay, so this is just summing it up. I know we're, crunching on time here, so I just want to share again. This is the cover of our Nourish and Thrive in Perimenopause workbook. We're so excited again to launch it. It's going to be available in print and digital. Feel free to take the QR code is there. And you can follow us at the.clean twins on Facebook at the.clean twins. And we have a free school community, Nourish and Thrive in Perimenopause. There's a link there. And we can also, if you go to the link in our bio, we have a stand store that has all sorts of digital freebies. Our workshops and seminars are there. Our digital products live there. Products that we support and love. So that's kind of where you can find more information about us and the things that we offer. So thank you very much for being here, and we're very excited to launch this workbook.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Danielle and Lindsay, that was beautiful. That was amazing. I feel very calm and grounded as well. So what a gift. Thank you for everything. And I can't wait to share all of the launch details for the workbook as soon as they're available. So anyone who is watching this live, make sure you're in the Facebook group. You will receive the replay through email, but the replays will live in the Facebook group forever and under season 2 of Heart of the Author, and all of the information about how you can get Danielle and Lindsay's workbook once it's published and it goes live on Amazon and all the bookstores, you'll be able to access all that information. So stay tuned in the Facebook group if you can, and we will send out emails as well. So make sure you subscribe to our email list and we'll go from there. Ladies, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.